let's begin with brief overview of XLS form. So you can go to the xlsform.org and look into details of how XLS form works. So XLS form is a standard form that is created to help simplify the authoring of forms in Excel. So without going into more details, I'll just go into the basic format of the XLS form. Each Excel book usually has two worksheets. So they have survey and choices, and third optional worksheet is called settings. In the survey worksheet, it gives overall structure and contains most of the content of the forms. It contains a full list of questions and information about how they should appear in the form. Usually, each row in the survey question represents one question. The next worksheet is the choices worksheet. This worksheet is to specify answer choices for the multiple choice question. Each row represents an answer choice. Answer choices with the same list are considered part of a related set of choices and will appear together for a question. You can look into the more details of setting up your worksheets in the website of XLS form. For this tutorial purpose, we'll just go through a simple form for our application. First, if we go to our application or our project, then we can see the folder name forms, which has the two folders inside. One is the app and the other is the contact form. The app forms are under the folder app. Similarly, the contact forms will come under the folder contact. For this tutorial, we'll look into one of the app forms. Let's look into the Child Health Assessment XLSX. So here, as we mentioned earlier, there are going to be three main worksheets. As you can see on the top, the first one is survey, the second one is choices, and the third one is the optional one called settings. So let's begin with the survey. The first column you can see is the type, which specifies the type of entry you are expecting for the question. The next column is the name column, which specifies the unique variable name for that entry. No two entries can have the same name, so each of these entries will have the unique name. Also, there are some restrictions on what the name can contain. Please look onto the XLS form for more details. The label columns contains the actual text that you would like to see for the questions in the form. The required column specifies whether the field is required for the form. The relevant column gives you the ability to skip a question or make an additional question appear based on the response to the previous question. The appearance column allows you to change the appearance of questions in your form. You can look into the XLS form website for the possible appearance attributes. XLS form supports multiple languages. You can look into more details as well for the translation in the XLS form. So next we can see that XLS form also allows to nest the groups of the questions in the form. This is a good way that you can group the related questions together. And also, this can be useful for data export and analysis. Nesting groups within the groups is also allowed in the XLS form. So looking into the types, you can see we can specify different types over here. The DB person over here specifies the DB object or the database object. Similarly, a hidden field is a field with no associated UI element, which can be used to store a constant that we can use in the form. We'll look into it into more details later. Next, we can see if we scroll, we have grouped multiple questions together. So here, the next group which is named as immunization, looks for the patient details, and it asks the height and weight of the patient. Similarly, here the type is specified as decimal for height and weight. For the question, did the patient receive an immunization package, we have a multiple choice response, which could be select one, either yes or no. Like we mentioned earlier, the choices will have this kind of list of multiple choices. The listing of yes underscore no, which has the label of yes and no. And we can also see there are multiple translations for the choices. Similarly, we can go through how the relevant allows us to see or skip a question. If we look into this one over here, is the patient unwell, which has the name of unwell is being used to ask whether to select the symptoms the patient is having now. So we specify over here when this selected unwell is true, only then select the symptoms the patient is having now is displayed. Also, when the other question, when did the symptoms first started, displays when is the patient unwell is selected. I will not go into more details over here, so we'll just look into how this form looks actually in the app. So once we have the form built on the XLSX format, then we can compile and upload the form. For that, all we need is the command, CHT command over here, which is the convert app forms and upload app forms. So this will create the XML file for the XLSX file that we just created. Finally, we can see these forms are uploaded into the CHT application.